20 years, and both of those incidents have actually involved Boeing aircraft. In one case, it was a 737-500 that back in 1993 actually crashed as it was coming into land during bad weather at the southernmost tip of the Korean peninsula at Mukpo Airport. 66 passengers were killed in that crash, and also 2 members of its crew. It actually attempted 3 times to land there, so it was very difficult weather, very different circumstances to what we've seen in San Francisco today, when it was much clearer weather, and whether that will have a dimension in the cause of the crash, I will remain to be seen. But certainly the worst crash for the airline was in particularly bad weather. The most recent incident, however, for Asiana was back in 2011. It was one of their cargo planes that crashed as it was coming into, as it was heading towards Pudong Airport in Shanghai. There was just 2 crew members on that flight that were killed at the time, and it was the body count for that was particularly low. It's because cargo aircraft particularly have a small number of crew. It usually actually is 2. It was actually taken off from Incheon Airport, that particular flight, and it was a 747-400F, crashed into the Pacific Ocean of Jeju Island in South Korea. Apparently it had reported a fire in the cargo compartment, so a history of fire there with one of its Boeing planes, although as the investigations tend to find out, it always appears to be different circumstances, individual circumstances that cause incidents like this. I'm not trying to allude to make any sort of allusion to the fire in there being the same sort of cause that could be the fire that we've seen in the flight today up at San Francisco. But the 777 itself has a good safety record. There's been 1,105 of them put into service since 1995, and a low number of incidents for that one. One of the reasons it's popular, you were saying, was because of its range, but also because of its safety record as well. It can take a large number of people, and there have been a few incidents involving that aircraft, which is just really why Boeing's been able to sell so many of those around the world, Rick.
Dominic DiNatale with some news on the airline as we take a look at the debris. And you saw just a minute ago that colorful piece of debris right at the tip of the runway that we believe to be a part of the tail that simply broke away. There have been some eyewitness reports that it was the back of the plane that hit the runway first, slamming down. That's where the tail came off. And then you can imagine, you can see the distance there that the plane actually traveled, skidded before coming to a stop. It's hard to know exactly how long that is, but probably at least a couple of hundred yards, maybe a few hundred yards that the plane skidded. And you can only imagine the fear of the people on board the plane as they were landing after a 10-plus hour flight from Seoul, South Korea. You finally think, okay, we're going to touch down. I'm going to